Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Steve Cooling.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Relativity Fest London 2017. Really excited to have you all here and see so many familiar faces, some new faces, and indeed just the early nervousness around putting bums on seats is always a good thing. Get your first words out, don't trip up, have people on the seats, the rest will flow. We've got a really kind of action-packed day ahead for you. Shortly following this, Andrew's going to take to the stage and deliver the opening keynote. Following that, we're going to break out into two different sessions. There'll actually be some in a room opposite, and then we're going to be splitting this room up as well. Now, within the agenda, we try really hard to keep to the timings, but some of these things overflow a little bit from time to time, so if we do need a little bit of flexibility, we'll be sure to notify you. Following that, we wanted to pull out a couple of sessions in particular. At 4 p.m. today, we're going to rejoin together in this room for the main panel session of the day. We've got some industry experts down. They'll introduce themselves when they come up later as well to the stage. Following that, Andrew's then going to take to the stage again for the final kind of comments and indeed a look ahead to the future. Post that, you then get to have a drink. There's a new format for us this year. For those who've been here on previous years, it's typically been kind of an evening event, and we changed it to a midday event working through. So normally when we stand up to give this kind of presentation and opening comments, you've had a few glasses of wine, a bit of beer, you've had coffee all day at work, whatever it may be. But your first drink and indeed your first opportunity to go and visit some of our stations in detail. It was super exciting this morning actually to see some of the developer partners starting to show what they've got on the stands. But you're going to have plenty of breaks to do that, and indeed 5:30 through to 7:30. Go and check out the developer partners. These partners have developed innovative integrations within Relativity, some really cool stuff. There's also a passport that you should have been provided when you came through and registered at reception, which I think is a competition for an Apple Watch within that as well. Also outside, we have our product manager stations for a lot of the key product features that we have. So again, grab a drink, go mingle, take the time to go and introduce yourselves to them and test the product, test their knowledge. Tell them what you want out of Relativity. Following that, in Keynote style, we have an after party. An after party at 7:30 sounds a little bit early, so there's probably going to be an after party somewhere as well, but we're going to be leaving here around 7:30 to make our way over towards McQueen's. For those who don't frequent there, it's over towards Old Street Station. It's about a 14-minute walk from here. Some of the K-Cura crew can guide you over there as well if you like. That place shuts at 1 in the morning, so hopefully we can't get into too much trouble, but we've said that before. With that, I wanted to have a quick look back at a couple of things, a look back at the growth of this event, and indeed the growth that you've seen over the last 12 months. So this event, the events continue to grow. If those of you remember the event 2 years ago, we were actually in here, in this same building. We decided to bring it back because we liked the venue so much, and hopefully you kind of like the production of this as well. We're really pleased with the setup. 2013 was the first ever event we launched. It was a launch event. We launched Relativity 8 on that evening. It was a 1-hour presentation where we talked about features and product. We had some partying, etc. But it was so popular that we made a commitment to continue that year after year in spring. And then we'd have our Relativity user conference, Relativity Fest, in Chicago, typically in October. This year, the event's grown to such a size that we did want to change the format up. We want to bring you the best bits of Relativity Fest. So we want to give you educational content. We want to give you the ability to meet the developer partners. We want to give you the ability to network and share ideas with the community. We feel that's kind of really important. So we stick a lot of energy, investment, and time into doing this. So hopefully you see the benefits as well. To the point now whereby we've actually rebranded this year. So for those who've been for the last 5 of them, you're actually attending today the very first Relativity Fest London. We've folded it into that fest feature. The attendance over the years. So there's a big spike in here. There's a little bit of explanation within the numbers. The previous year's numbers are those who actually turned up on the day. We don't know that yet. Fingers crossed, it's like 726. But no, so we'll get those numbers kind of post this. But we've seen the highest level of registration that we've ever seen, considering as well the change of format to a daytime event and you all giving up your time away from your day jobs to come and spend it with us. We're really grateful. So who's here today? We see a large presence from the service provider community, our Relativity authorized partners, consulting firms. We like this mix. For this mix, it represents kind of a really rich diversity in offering that all of the community see. If you're an enterprise client that wants to work through with one of our channel partners, if you're a channel partner business that's specifying in a certain particular area, again, the breadth and diversity of the offering that you're taking to market with and through Relativity is awesome. But it's also really cool to see the number of corporations, law firms, and governments growing as well. So the event's grown. Even more so, your activity has grown. And these are kind of top-level numbers that we see. And again, feedback from previous years, it's tended to get a pretty good response and something that you've wanted us to share with you. So you've had a busy year. You've had a really busy year. Now, in EMEA, we have just over 21,500 users, month over month, logging into the software and growing at a steady pace. For the Asia-Pacific region, we've got just shy of 7,000 users, again, growing at a really steady pace. And the total number for international now is just shy of 30,000 users. It's really exciting. We're very grateful, but more so, to see your businesses go out there and kind of grow these levels of numbers is special to us, and we thank you for that. For the mathematicians in the audience, you'll notice that doesn't add up to 29,500. International also looks after Central and South America, but we thought in the interest of time today, we probably wouldn't deep dive too much into that particular region. So let's talk about instances, the number of individual instances that are being spun up across the international map. For the EMEA region, we're now up to 211 instances. So that's everything from service providers, Relativity authorized partners, spinning up new instances in new geographies. It's service providers, our partners, spinning up instances for managed services with some of their end users, kind of dedicated instances. And it's new partners joining us both from the service provider community and indeed from an enterprise perspective. So 17% up on last year. Andrew's going to share some of the global numbers on these later as well, just to give you kind of some of the context of where it all fits in. In Asia Pacific, we've seen 45% growth in the last 12 months. It's fair to say it's pretty much kind of a boom area for e-discovery, investigation, compliance at the moment, and we're certainly seeing that in our numbers. So total of 313. It roughly makes up about 43% of Keycura's total instances globally. And you're present in 41 different countries, which again is amazing. We were trying to look at slides from kind of year one. I think we were in around about 12 countries at that stage. So again, we thank you. It's exciting. You're growing. You're expanding. It keeps my air miles going as well. But no, it's really rewarding to kind of see that grow. We also continue to see a growth in the number of Relativity authorized partners that we deal with. So in the last 12 months, we've had 10 new partners join the community. So we've had 3 in London, 1 in Switzerland, 1 in Germany, the 2 BDOs. We've had our first ever domestic Chinese service provider in China e-discovery. We have a service provider now in India, in Cobra Legal, and then 3 in Australia as well, again, another key market for us. So the event's grown, you've grown, so we've had to grow in line with that as well. This is the team of beautiful people that stand beside us. I don't know why, this slide really makes me laugh for some reason. It's a mixture of pride and kind of slight giddiness as well. But I'm really proud of the team that we've established internationally. We've got a phenomenal mix of experience, backgrounds, but more so hopefully you're seeing that in the support that they're giving to you, the volume of trainings that we're doing locally in your markets, the depth they're going into your business to help you grow. In terms of that growth of your business and your success, there's one particular role that I wanted to highlight today, and it's a new role within Keycura. We actually started this 12 months ago in the US. We've now extended it out into international, and that's the role of customer success. So what is customer success and what do they do? So by the very definition, they're aimed at making our customers successful. Profound, right? But more so what they're going to do, they're going to focus on 3 core areas of our clients. The first core area is that of existing clients and working with you on product adoption. So you've made the investment in the software. Are you using all the features that it has? Are you getting a return on investment? Are there workflows that we can be helping you with to help maximize kind of your engagement with your clients? For brand new clients, they'll work with you on your onboarding for the first 90 days, getting you ramped up, getting you deployed, getting you up and running successfully, working on training, workflows, implementation. And then finally, that of upgrade readiness. So upgrades, as we all know, can be challenged from time to time, right? We'll have more on that later. But this team will work with you in a schedule and kind of formal approach to make sure they can plan that upgrade ahead of time, to make sure you have the full resource and availability from Keycura to make that a success, and I hope it goes smoothly. I'm nearly there. I mentioned earlier around kind of this event, Relativity Fest London 2017 brings to you kind of some of the best bits of Relativity Fest in Chicago. But for those who haven't been, we would wholeheartedly recommend you try and make the journey out there. It's a 2.5, 3-day event, depth, lots of different sessions. We have around about 2,000 people attend there. And for me, I just see it as a really valuable engagement opportunity to kind of really get connected with the community and learn and take things back into your business. So Chicago, 22nd through to 25th. We'd really like you to make it if you could. With that, I'm nearly done. All it leaves for me to do is thank you. I'd like to thank you for attending today and giving us your time. I'd like to thank you for your business. We're very grateful for it. I'd like to thank you for your interest in Relativity, for those who are newer to us in the room. And with that, if you could kill the lights, please.
Hi, welcome to Relativity Fest London. I'm Nick, and I want to give you a quick look at the types of problems you can solve when you take full advantage of the Relativity Connected experience. Now, in true Relativity Fest fashion, we decided to make this video a few days before the show, right before we jumped on the plane to London. Hopefully I don't look too stressed out. I'm going to be playing the role of in-house counsel at a large multinational organization based in London. Like my blazer? Our head of procurement just left the company, and one of his colleagues sent me a rather suspicious email about his dealings with one of our vendors. Per our protocol, I want to get our external counsel to look at this right away, give me an opinion and advice on next steps. Thankfully, I have Relativity, so this will be easy. I drag and drop the suspicious email into a workspace, create an account for external counsel, and give her a call. As I tell her what I know, she starts building out the issues and facts so work product lives right alongside our documents within Relativity. The investigation has begun. External counsel thinks there's an issue, so we need to collect some of this guy's data. He was based in Germany and their privacy laws are pretty strict, so I can't collect his data and load it into our London instance of Relativity. No sweat. I ship a Relativity notebook to my colleagues in Germany, collect and analyze the data. Once the notebook is in place, we connect it to our main instance of Relativity in London. Our lawyer and I now have secured access to the notebook in Germany with the data simply by logging into Relativity as we always have. Simple. And now the fun begins, analysis. Now I can start finding answers to my questions. Who was involved and when? From what domains? What is the data telling us, and do we even have the right stuff? We have a rich visual set of search and analysis tools allowing us to slice and dice the data by dates, names, email, document metadata, searchable text, and concepts. Let's figure out who this guy was talking to. Deep within one of our more complex email threads, our counsel finds what appears to be a hot document and needs my opinion quickly. Unfortunately, I'm at my son's football match and I don't have my laptop with me, but I do have my iPad, so I've got access to Relativity Mobile to check out the email of interest. Looks like I was right to be suspicious. The email seems to indicate our custodian was trading information with one of our competitors. I dictate a quick note to our lawyer, turn my attention back to watching my future 3 Lions star on the pitch. Go, 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 buddy! Meanwhile, analysis has identified additional people. We need to start collecting from other people on the procurement team in London for a more expansive investigation. Man, this is going to be a lot of work. During the Berlin review, we identified key filters, search terms, date ranges, and other key people. I'm going to apply all those filters to our newly collected data to find relevant documents. Well, this one isn't going to be pretty. Our investigation is ballooning to involve more players and issues than we anticipated. In fact, it looks like it could grow into multiple terabytes of data and end up having some large productions. Now, this is beyond the type of thing we're capable of handling in-house, so we're going to call on one of our Relativity partners for assistance. We connect to their Relativity instance, and with the data transfer capabilities of Relativity, I start pushing the data collected in London to our partner. Our colleague in Germany redacts PII according to German privacy laws using an application by one of our developer partners. Once that's done, he pushes the German data to our Relativity partner's instance. Now we have the support and overflow assistance we need to run this massive litigation, as well as the scale and capabilities of Relativity. And the best part, we do it all with a single login. I can continue to interact with my lawyers and Relativity authorized partner just like I would if I was running the matter in-house, one system, one single pane of glass. My big problem just got a lot easier. The connected relativity experience, Relativity Fest London, new tweed jacket. I'm feeling pretty good about things. Hey, can I keep this jacket?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Andrew Sieja.
How cool is that? Be a nice world to live in, huh? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Relativity Fest London. I gotta tell you, I'm super excited to be in London, and it's really comforting to look at so many of you out here who have been like friends of Keynote and friends of Relativity for so long. I want to take a moment to thank our speakers for spending the day with us, to our exhibitors for traveling all the way to London to present their wares, and more importantly, I want to thank you guys for taking a day off work to come watch us speak, to check out some software, to geek out a little bit. Thank you. The theme this year for Fest is bringing it all together. And I got to tell you, we feel very fortunate to have a place in this community. With so many of you using our software, with so many of you using our software every day, we work hard to not only give you a great software platform, but we really want to help cultivate this community that's connected, this community that is inspired by each other, and this community that's really pushing the industry forward in new and innovative ways. And Keynote's place in this community, well, it's centered around our mission. And that mission is to build software that enables our customers to organize data, discover the truth, and act on it. This is what we do every day. This is what we do for our clients. We take their heinous data, we organize it, we try to answer some type of question, the truth, and then we act on it. I love what we do for our customers because our industry is filled with so many passionate and smart people who love their professions and who love finding the truth. The work that they are doing is extraordinarily important, and I'm proud to have the part of that. Think about it. The work that we do is woven into the fabric of the world's legal system. How cool is that? I feel very fortunate. And this community, we're doing a bunch of important work, and our community is growing. We now have 376 licensed customers in the platform, and you've deployed over 764 instances in 41 countries. We now have 157,000 users in the platform logging in on a month-to-month basis. Over close to 13,000 organizations are using the platform in over 135,000 workspaces. Collectively, we are now managing active 110 billion files under management. It's amazing. Really organizing a lot of data, huh? And if you noticed, our users have grown maybe 20% year over year, but our data has grown 66%. And so now we're way more productive. We're collecting more data, and we're getting more insights out of it. You guys are smarter with the tool, and you're also smarter with analytics. We've indexed more than double the amount of data that we've done in previous years with analytics, and I'm thrilled that you guys are taking advantage of the software. Our expert community is continuing to grow. We now have over 1,500 certified relativity administrators. And this really, it still to this day remains a pretty tough exam with a 50% pass rate. I just want to take a moment and give a shout out to the ultimate relativity experts, the local masters who really take their expertise in the platform to the next level. These experts hold 4 or more special certifications and truly have demonstrated their proficiency in the platform. Can we just quickly give these folks a quick round of applause? While Relativity Masters exhibit individual skills and expertise, our best in service partners represent our service providers who are focused on delivering the ultimate in relativity hosting experience with the technical infrastructure, the customer service, and product expertise. When it comes to hosting Relativity, our best in service partners are exceptional. I'm going to tell you, becoming and maintaining best in service isn't easy, and it's really about providing a consistent world-class experience, the technical audits, the upgrade requirements, and a proven commitment to customer success. These groups have continuously demonstrated their proficiency in hosting data in the platform. And it's exciting to see our Best in Service program continue to thrive internationally, and I just want to spotlight these global organizations, these best-in-class organizations, for the work that they do. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your business. Thank you for all the time that you spend in Relativity. Thank you for helping us make Relativity better day in and day out. Thank you for helping us build this community. Thank you. Every day, me, and now we have over 700 employees at Keycura, we wake up every morning and we think about how we can help our customers organize data, discover the truth, and act on it. And there's so many people at Keycura that are passionate about this mission. And our vision for Relativity is ever so simple. It's so simple. And our vision is to help our customers, to simplify and accelerate how our customers conduct e-discovery. Simplify and accelerate how you conduct e-discovery. Simplify and accelerate how the world conducts e-discovery. And how we get there is pretty simple. The process of e-discovery, it's complicated. Data is messy. Requires a bunch of steps, right? We're wrangling data and we're not getting the insights of the data. This is where we believe we can really help. Let's get out of the data wrangling business and let's get into the data analysis business. Simplify and accelerate how the world conducts e-discovery. And we have a pretty simple plan on how we get there. First, it involves, we want to provide a technology platform that can be the hub for the industry. One platform, one login, one place that you go to do your work, even if it's in our tool or in someone else's tool. Two, we build the largest community of professionals, of partners, of development partners innovating on top of the platform. Finally, we take our platform and we connect it to everything. We connect it to each other. We connect it to the sources of data where the data is originated. We connect it to other e-discovery systems. We connect it to everything. And through the connected experience, we can then streamline the transfer of information across the world. Talked about there's close to 800 instances of Relativity worldwide. Imagine a world where sending a production was as easy as sending an email. This is what we're working towards. We want to simplify and accelerate how the world conducts e-discovery by bringing the entire process and community together in one open and flexible and connected platform. And today, I want to show you the work that we've been doing to advance towards that vision. And we'll start on how Relativity can be used to consolidate the knowledge, and we'll highlight Reed Smith and the impact that it's made on their case teams. Then we'll share the story of Dickinson Wright and how they made a processing an advantage for the firm. With growing and evolving capabilities of analytics and visualization in Relativity, we'll talk about how firms like Robbins Geller, Lineal, and Sheehan Feeney have used analytics to produce great outcomes for their clients. Then we'll share the story of Heretic and how they are doing more with the platform to perform contract review and analysis in Relativity. And then finally, we'll close out with RelativityOne and the connected e-discovery experience. Right? Who's excited to see some software? Yeah, cool. Simplify and accelerate how the world conducts e-discovery through consolidating the knowledge. Now, I remember the first time I came to London. It was back in 2004, and it was to visit some potential law firm clients very early on. And I was visiting a friend, and I was supposed to meet him at his office. And as I was new to the city, and this is back in 2004, so think before we had like GPS and maps, all this stuff embedded in our phones. And he was like, "Mate, it's too complicated to get here. Just get into a black cab and say you need to go to the Atlantic House." Okay, that's what I did. Hailed a cab, got in there, say, take me to the Atlantic House, please. And I first got in the cab first, right? The guy drove around for 25 minutes all over these crazy streets in London, dropped me out and said the Atlantic House, and there I was. I thought this was amazing. And the next time I got in the cab, is like, how do you guys just know where you're going? He goes, it's the knowledge, mate. I'm like, what is that? And then I learned the story that these black cab drivers, they spend years learning the streets of London, right? And they call it the knowledge, right? They call it the knowledge. And if you think about, what's in the knowledge, it's all in their head. It's all in their head. And obtaining this knowledge is a long and challenging and grueling process. And when it comes to like the knowledge in the case, you don't necessarily need to like manage all that knowledge in your head. Well, you can use relativity to help you manage that knowledge in your case. And we have a tool that allows you to do it, and that's called Fact Manager. And tell you one thing about this tool, for some of our most enthusiastic users inside Relativity love this thing because it's so impactful to their organization. And what Fact Manager does, it provides you a system that allows to take the knowledge that traditionally might be stored in maybe just a handful of people who are really focused on the substantive narrative of the case. Right? There could be just a handful of people, and they develop their thesis behind the case, and then the thesis is supported by the facts and the key people and some assumptions, maybe critical events that happen. And then later we'll like validate some of our facts through documents we find through discovery. Right? They'll organize this knowledge, and people might have different ways of doing it. Some might keep it in their head. Some might put it in a Word document. Some might put it on a legal pad that sits on their desk, the knowledge. And with Fact Manager, we give you a tool that allows you to organize the knowledge in Relativity, and then it becomes available for everyone to learn from, so they can make better decisions in the case. So they have more context when they're reviewing the documents, so they can add to the knowledge. And the benefits of using a tool like Fact Manager, well, you know what? You get a single source of truth. The knowledge is organized in one place. Allows us to share the knowledge and increases collaboration amongst the case team. With the knowledge structured in a database, well, you can do more with it. We can report on it. We can create different visualizations of it. And then finally, once it's organized in the system, then we can use it in different parts of the process. We can use it early on. We can use it during the review. We can use it as we go into prep for interrogatories or depositions. We can build and use the knowledge at all parts of the case. Now, Reed Smith has made consolidating the knowledge a core part of their workflow. It's actually, like most of the cases that they use Fact Manager, and it's had a meaningful, accretive impact to how they litigate for their clients, right? And what I think is exciting about the Reed Smith story is that prior to incorporating Fact Manager into their workflow, they used to have paralegals who would be the people coordinating the knowledge. And so the attorneys on the case would go to the paralegal, they would tell them some new learnings, the paralegals would then update some type of Word document, and they would be the keeper. And when there was new updates, they would share them with the team. That no longer needs to happen. It's all in one system. Now, the problem with Fact Manager, right? And the problem with Fact Manager, for guys like me, right? It's easy to use because, I think like a database, right? Fact Manager, you got to think like a database in order to use it. Well, what does that mean, thinking like a database? Well, when you add a new person into Fact Manager, you click on the person tab and you add it. When you need to add a new, what is this we have here? Fact. When we add a new fact, you got to go to click the fact tabs and then you add it. When you have to add a new legal issue, you click on the issue table and you add it. Right? You have to think like a database. Now the problem, like a computer nerd like me, I think like a database. I have no problem. But most normal people, and especially lawyers that we work with, well, they don't think like a database, they think like a person. And a person will probably do things a little differently. They'll open up their legal pad and they'll just start writing the facts and the issues on a piece of paper. And so what we wanted to do was like, how can we make the experience in Fact Manager so someone can think like a person? Let me show you how it works. Renee Lawrence is going to help us. Come up, Renee.
Hello, everyone. It's wonderful to be in London. So I just want to quickly walk through an example of how you can consolidate the knowledge in Relativity. We've just been presented with an investigation by a client of one of their employees, and a senior partner has had a meeting with this particular client, and they've taken some notes. Now, these notes have some important information that I'd like to maintain in Relativity. So what I'm going to do, in an effort to make this easier, is go ahead and create a new outline in Relativity. And what this is going to allow me to do, as opposed to really building my facts like a database, I can actually just kind of type or build like a Word document right within Relativity. So once I go and create this, I'm just going to go ahead and type notes from client. Now when I do that, I can go ahead and start typing, but actually my partner has provided me the information. So I can just simply copy and paste. And now, all that information that he went ahead and created, I just simply grab and bring into Relativity. Now that it's in my outline, I can use it to identify certain things. For example, here's an issue that I want to use for my case. So I simply highlight, select the issue I want to create, and add it. And I can do that for other things, such as people, facts, and other things. Now, when I do this, what's really nice is those items that I've created are available for me if I want to create additional ones. So if I wanted to, using the @ sign, it's going to go ahead and suggest one of the items I previously used, making it easier for me to add data to my outline, and therefore easier for me to build my thoughts, legal issues I want to pursue, or additional facts I've identified. Now, my partner has given me a call and he said, you know, we've built a lot of facts. I'd like to provide them in a visual way for my client. Is there some way we can do that? Well, as I go ahead and save the outline, one of the things about Fact Manager is I have this report set where I can create a timeline of the facts that I've identified. So as I go into my timeline, I can see in a visual way the facts as they laid out by date. As you can see, it's color coordinated or color coded. I can move to format in a specific way. I can even export this out as a PDF to provide to my client. Now I notice as I'm going through and iterating through this, I might have missed a fact. So I can go ahead and add that fact right on the fly. Relativity Fest is now. Relativity London Fest. And that's how you take information from the master and consolidate the knowledge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and assign it and save it. And as I do that, I can pop it out, organize it, and then export it as a PDF. Now, while I'm doing this, one of my colleagues has forwarded me a document that has particular content or concepts about the case. It may not be material as far as review, but it's something I'd like to add to my workspace. So I'm going to go ahead, and I've saved the document to my desktop, and I want to load it. Now you'll see there's a new button for those who've been in Relativity. I get this modal. I'm simply going to drag and drop the document into Relativity. Now what the system is going to do is it's going to upload this document and make it accessible for me to use. So now if I go back to my outline, I can add a new fact, event, or person. Suspicious meeting. I can then highlight it, find the document, select it, and go ahead. And what I've done is I've just consolidated the knowledge in Relativity. Thank you.
Look what we've done. We have a single source of truth. We have a system that allows us to easily share the knowledge, and where more people can collaborate. It didn't have to just be one person. And with the knowledge structure, we can do more with it. We can create that innovative, nifty timeline. And then we can leverage that knowledge at all parts of the process. And most importantly, we can think like a person and not like a database. How cool is that? The team has done an amazing job. So let's talk about what we're doing to simplify and accelerate how the world conducts e-discovery by leveraging processing as an advantage. Think about that. Processing as an advantage, because for many people, processing is a dirty word, right? It doesn't have to be thought of that way. It doesn't have to be the task that you least look forward to. And we can help your team run more efficiently and deliver better results for your company and your customers. Now, we've had relativity processing in our product for close to 5 years now. And since 2012, we've been innovating on this product. And I got to tell you, this journey has been all kinds of ups and downs, and it hasn't been easy. But we've never lost focus of what our vision was for processing, or what our vision is for processing. In that, you know what? It should be like a non-event. It should be simple. It should be in tool. It shouldn't require a separate team to do it. And throughout the last 5 years, we've been continuing to iterate on the process to execute on that vision. That processing should be a non-event, and it should be an advantage. It should be an advantage. Today, we have over 140 customers who use our processing as their primary processing tool. Groups that range from small law firms to some of our largest Relativity partners. Dickinson Wright, a US-based law firm, is a good example of this. They're now getting PSTs in front of their case team in as little as an hour, and it's twice as fast for moving native files to review with the fully integrated capabilities of relativity processing. Now, the advantages of fully integrated processing and relativity are numerous, but there's 3 that I'd really like to talk on what we're doing here. 1, it's easy to use, but it has depth when you use it. Processing data in relativity is easy as going through, creating a processing set, setting your custodian, putting it the data set, click go, right? No specialist, no different tools. You're not hustling data between environment. Set it and forget it and go. But when you need to have depth, well, we have tools that you can go in and further customize the tool. 2, speed to review. The fastest ways to get documents in relativity is going to be through relativity processing, right? And when cases hit, like in the video that we showed early on, well, hey, we need to get the data in, and we got to start looking at it as quick as possible. And speed, there's 2 dimensions to speed. The first dimension is how quickly can the system actually do the work, which is important. But the second one is how much human intervention is required to actually get this job done. And I want to highlight a case that was processed in Relativity last week. It was 3 terabytes of data, and when it was expanded, it was to close to 6 terabytes of data. So it's not a small case. It's actually a pretty sizable case. There was 26 custodians, lots of containers, 629 PSTs, over 2,000 NSFs, close to 20,000 zip files. This is a pretty nasty data set, right? From 2008 to 2016 was our date ranges. You can kind of see the distribution of the files. Over 160 files were discovered in the software. 160 file types. This data set was 10 million documents. It took 3 days to process, but it was set and forget, and when it was done, there's 53 errors only. That's it. Think about this data set. It was set, it was forget. 3 days later, it's done with 53 errors that required human intervention. Right? Speed to review, easy to use. It's a big part of the story, and it's a big part of what we're working towards. And processing in relativity, well, it brings the full power of relativity upstream, right? So then when you think about all the powerful tools that we have to visualize data, the machine learning, the analytics, the email threading, well, we can now use that all earlier in the cycle. And then once we've whittled down that data set, well, you know what? We just publish it into another workspace, and then that's the review database. I know you guys have probably seen this before, but I just want to show you how ridiculously easy it is to process data in Relativity. And Renee's going to come up and take 2 minutes and process a PST real quick. Come on, you got 2 minutes. Go.
All right.
Go. Let's go.
So I'm going to go in here.
Let's go.
I'm going to go over to my set.
You're set. Okay. Okay.
This is intense stuff.
Okay. Let's go. Come on. New processing set.
So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to name it.
Name it.
I'm just going to cut set 3.
Oh, it's set 3. It already named it for you. Default.
I have a profile with all my settings. I'm going to click Save.
So that could be in your case template.
That's in my case template. There's all my settings on how I want the data processed.
Cool.
Now I have to add a data source.
Add a data source.
I have a PST I need to review quickly.
Philip Allen.
I have a custodian already set up, and I click Save.
Save.
This is probably the longest part of the whole job.
Yeah, what is it doing right now?
So now it's creating the set, getting it ready to prepare it for discovery. And what I do is I'm going to discover.
Okay.
Now before it kicks off, I simply answer this question, yes.
Okay.
And now the system begins processing.
Okay, go. Okay.
Now I've set up auto-publishing because there's actually a 2-step process. It's going through to grab the emails, pull out the attachments, grab all the metadata, extract the text, organize it so we can bring it into Relativity for review. And then once we've got it organized, then we're going to load it or publish it into Relativity. And as you can see, it's not that big, but it's pretty fast.
It's pretty fast. It's going.
And the key is that
it's publishing.
And the key is because we need to look at this document really fast to provide context to our customer, we can see that it's ready and available for review.
Got it.
So how are we doing on that 2 minutes?
I don't know. It's just going.
I think we're pretty close.
Yes. Go. It's
So we
publishing.
can sit here
there we
and
go.
we can see that
published.
it's published. And so now if I go into the Documents tab, I can see our documents are now in Relativity, ready to search, analyze, and act on.
There you go. How easy was that? Easy to use, speed to review, and brings the full power of Relativity upstream. Simplify and accelerate how the world conducts e-discovery with analytics and visualizations. Analytics and visualizations. So over the past couple years, we've been retooling our whole user interface to build a rich set of tools that you use to get insights into your data, so you can visualize your data. And our customers are using these tools in really cool ways to just answer fundamental questions about what they have, right? Do we have the right documents, right? Take the data, you process it, you put it into Relativity. Here we have a dashboard that was created. Okay, what's the date distribution of my documents? How does it flow across our different custodians? The file types, right? As we start lowering it, we can layer in the coding decisions. You can see some of the interactive dashboards that our customers are building to understand, hey, do we have the right data? The dashboarding and the visualizations in Relativity has been super accretive for our customers. Robin Geller has implemented 9.5 in a big way and has brought speed, efficiency, and collaboration to the team, right? And the story here is really cool in that 3 things, this is how it's changed Robin Geller's. 1, it's truly streamlined the process and how they work with the legal teams. Before, they would get the data, and then they would have to run a bunch of searches to kind of understand what they have. It's gone now. Now they can quickly understand that through the dashboards. They used to export things to Excel, run searches, put things into documents, and build reports for the legal teams, manually build reports. Now they build a dashboard, they can export it to Excel, and they just send it off to their clients. But I think the coolest thing that's happened is that it's changed the relationship that they have with the legal team. And before, the legal teams didn't even really care about the data. They're just just get in front of me, answer some of these questions. And now they're engaged with the data. They're sitting with the lit support staff. They're looking at the data. They're working together on it, right? It's more collaborative now with the teams. And so once the review is going, how can we use the tools to really focus on the key documents? Well, again, here's another dashboard. Again, it's fully interactive. You can click on these different things, your search conditions blow out, and then you can further slice and dice your data to then prioritize your review. Now, we have another story. Our partner over at Lineal Services have been applying analytics and visualizations early in their case workflow to more quickly zoom in on relevant information. I want to take a deeper dive into their story. Now, learning about how they are using the technology, I think the biggest takeaway that I had is that it changed the way that they talk with their clients. Again, and there was this similar type of situation. The clients were focusing on like minimizing the data. Oh, we got all this stuff. Like let's just continue to run search terms and let's iterate until we have like a small enough data set that I find that's manageable. That was the mindset. The mindset wasn't on, hey, is the truth in here? Hey, what's the case strategy? The mindset was on data minimization. And with the tools and using analytics and the visualizations, the conversation changed. And it became more about finding the truth than strategy, than data wrangling. I think this is the really powerful thing that we're doing with analytics and visualizations in Relativity. Who's talking to who? Who's talking to who? Again, another dashboard. Who's sending emails? Who's receiving emails? Hey, we want everything from Mr. Maggie. Well, you know what? There was 3 different iterations of him in the data set. You can then see who he was talking to. Another way to like do some communication analysis into Relativity. And then speaking of communications, how can we see how the conversation changed and flowed? So we have a really cool tool that we've built, email thread visualization, that will analyze the emails, build the threads, understand the relationships between all the threads with each other, and then we can visualize them and look, and we can see how a conversation has evolved over time. Super powerful feature. And this, I think, is like the sleeper in Relativity for 2017. We're going to play a video from Charles from Sieja and Feeney to get answers that he showed how he used analytics and email threading to really figure out like where's the money in a case that they worked out. Please play the video, please.
So recently we had a case come in where our client had a $12 million judgment. And when he went to collect from the defendant claimed to have no money. So we were tasked with trying to find where this money had gone, where were his assets. I'm Charlie Stewart. I'm the manager of Electronic Discovery Services here at Sieja and Feeney Bass & Green. We were looking for the needle in the haystack. We collected data from 30 different computers. They were EO1 files, and we processed them using relativity processing. And then through some culling, we ended up with a final document set of about 2.4 million documents. To review these with a small review team was quite daunting. So we created some concept searches based upon issues and went in, and with those concept searches, we culled that set down to 40,000 documents or thereabouts. And the attorneys would go in and start looking at the documents and making coding decisions. And as they did that, they were using email thread visualization. These had some very complex email threads. There were some threads that were thousands of documents long. Without that visualization tool, it would have been near impossible for attorneys to understand how they related to one another. Each email thread tells a story, but sometimes a story has subplots. It takes a turn and it doesn't go the way you think. Email thread visualization allows you to see those clearly, see those subplots, those twists, those turns, and understand how they relate to the main thread. And that's the difference. So email threading itself, it's powerful, pulls all that stuff together, really makes that story for you, a story that you can understand. But then when it has those twists and turns, email thread visualization comes to the rescue and makes it that much clearer. We had some interesting results that we wouldn't have necessarily found had we not been using relativity analytics and email thread visualization. There were entities that the defendant had created that we didn't know about. There were assets that the defendant had that we didn't know about, and there was a new revenue stream that the defendant has set up and was using, and we didn't know about. All of that was uncovered with Relativity Analytics and with email threat visualization.
It's a great story. Small team, 2.5 million documents, great outcome for their client. Great outcome. You guys want to take a look? No, kind of? Yes, I'm going to show you anyways. Renee, come on.
Getting quite a workout here. All right, so our case that started out as a simple matter has actually ballooned into a massive sea of emails with a ton of documents from a global collection of custodians across the world with many documents in multiple languages. So as I go ahead and go back to my case, I'm going to start looking at what do I have? Did I get the right stuff, and did I collect from the right people? So using dashboards, what I can do is provide myself an overview of what I've gotten. Now I can see the date range of the documents collected, and I can see that my primary language of most of the documents are English. But I can suppress that so I can get a better breakdown of the rest of the type of languages in the document set. I can see the custodians we've collected from and verify if we have the correct set of data. As I scroll down, again, I can look at my file types. I know a majority of what I have is email, so again, I can suppress it to get a better breakdown of the different file types I need to look at. Now, because we use Relativity Analytics, I can also see a breakdown of how many emails are inclusive, so we can know we can focus our review on just the inclusive emails. Now, because I'm under a tight time frame, I need to provide my client some answers. I'm going to focus on a particular date range of emails that I want to look at. So because of dashboards being interactive, I'm going to highlight the date range, and the dashboards are automatically going to update. And if you notice, we have this additional person of interest we identified earlier in the data set that we've identified. So we know we're on the right track. Again, because I want to focus my review on just inclusives, I'm just going to go ahead and select that to filter down. And I can still filter down further if I'd like by highlighting one of my other individuals of interest. So I'm going to start with this particular email and see where it takes me. So as I go into the email, this is where I'm going to use email thread visualization to show me how the conversation developed. Now, first of all, you'll notice right away that this document happens to be in French. Now, despite my name, I don't actually read French, so I need to convert it or translate it. So because I knew about these foreign languages, I had the Systrand applications, the anonymizer and the translate, installed in my application. I'm going to go ahead and submit this for translation to English so that I can review the document. Now, while that's working, I can also look at some of the other parts of the thread. Because the thread visualization is interactive, it allows me to identify different information about emails. I can navigate to other emails. I can even apply coding that's been done to see how that displays over the entire set. So I'm simply going to pick my relevance, and I can see how relevance coding has been applied over this thread. Now, from just general analysis, one thing that's of interest is it looks like a pretty linear kind of email thread. It's kind of broken down, but maybe this particular subchain is something of interest, and I'd like to provide it to my client to kind of validate what I'm thinking. So I'm going to go ahead and edit this particular email, because what I've done is I've set up a view for my client saying, here are the documents I would like to confer with you on to ensure that what I have is the right stuff. So now that I've gone ahead and done that, their view is updated with the document. So I contact my client, and my client says, you know, I'd love to help. Fortunately, I'm at my kid's football match. Like, no problem. We can use Relativity mobile app for you to access the documents. So I'm going to go into my phone here, launch Relativity, using my Touch ID, flip over to my Needs Query View. It's going to refresh. There's my documents. I'm going to go into this document here. Whoops.
Sorry.
Let's go into this document here. I review the document. I'm actually going to put it on the side. I kind of like this side. I'm like, yep, this is something I need to add a comment to. Go ahead and pull up my coding value. I'm going to add to this comment. But instead of actually adding to the comment by typing, I'm going to dictate a comment. So I'm going to use my dictation and say,
We don't build this feature, by the way.
hello, everyone at Relativity Fest. Welcome and have a wonderful day. I hit done. I update. And once I save, those changes to the document are in Relativity in real time. And that's how we visualize, analyze, and review in Relativity.
Thank you, Renee.
Thanks.
So we saw a lot of cool technologies here that's simplifying and accelerating the process. Email threading, mobile, the use of like platform applications. How cool is that? And I gotta tell you, I'm so excited about email threading. We have a lot of engineering happening on it right now. And our vision with threading is that every single case, no one creates a workspace in Relativity and does not create a DT search index. No one does that. That is a given. And our vision with email threading, that every single workspace, you actually run thread analysis on it. It should be used and it should be utility, and you wouldn't even think of not doing that in the future. That's our vision with email threading. Thanks, Renee. So we talked about Sys-Tran and like the applications they're doing, and want to just dig into what's happening for folks in doing more in the platform. And right now we have over 50 development partners innovating on top of the platform, building new and innovative solutions on top of it. And I'm just going to highlight a few. You have Malili and their Blackout, their automated redaction tool. You got Esquify that's using machine learning-driven monitoring to track performance of reviewers in a workspace. You got BrainSpace with their analytics and visualizations tool fully integrated. Veritone has built an audio player for Relativity, but they've integrated Relativity with all the audio and video analytics capabilities in Google and Azure and AWS to provide real-time transcription of audio and video data. It's super cool. Phorexis, Bloomberg Chat and Review, Evolver, native Excel redaction. These are just some of the cool things that people are doing. And throughout the years as we talk with folks, we get a lot of questions about contracts. And I think being able to handle contracts better in Relativity has been a hot customer request. And it's a little bit different than a standard e-discovery document. And we have a cool new innovative ISV, Heretic, that is trying to solve this problem right now. And I'd like to bring up Charlie Connor to tell us a little more.
Thanks, Andrew. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Hello, Charlie. Let's try this again.
Hey.
Hello,
Hello, everyone. All right.
Okay, much better.
Better than Renee got. All right. I'm one of the co-founders behind Heretic, and I'm so excited to show you guys how our solution will allow you to better manage your contract data in Relativity, and in particular because we built it for this community. And it's so exciting. Also, my mom has no idea what I do, so it's much better. But ultimately, why is contract review different? Throughout the keynote today, we've been hearing about these massive, super complicated data sets and matters that are in Relativity, when a contract data set is really a smaller set and arguably is a little bit more predictable. So when you look at what Relativity Analytics has been able to evolve to and do, it's been able to be much more flexible to go with these massive and complicated data sets. Where contracts, it's more than just a document level relevance. You need to be able to go and analyze deeply within the contract and then across all of your contracts. It's actually the ideal use case for machine learning. And in the past 6 months, my team and I have been focused on building a machine learning engine that will allow you to analyze your contract data set, to be able to identify and extract the most important data around your contracts, but have it complement the review process within Relativity and complement Relativity Analytics. And that's been our mission for the last 6 months. So let's walk through a real-world scenario. My client just called me. They let me know they've agreed to terms on a massive merger with their biggest competitor. And my firm's been hired to handle the due diligence. And as luck has it for me, I've been given 2 days to ensure that we understand all of the obligations surrounding the executive compensation, separation packages, and especially any contractual compensation clauses that could be triggered by this merger. So, what's the first thing I need to do? Well, I gotta get the contracts into Relativity as soon as possible. When you download the Heretic application in your Relativity workspace, it comes with pre-configured integration points to common data sources. And since they kind of continue to come in whenever it's a linear process, we set up a way the scheduler to automatically keep importing those contracts as they come into your workspace. While that's going on, our application is synced up to monitor with its own agent those contract indexes that are being loaded. And as those contracts are being put into Relativity, real quick, as those contracts are being put into Relativity, our agent will go ahead and identify each one of those categories so that you can immediately start assigning it to that expert on your due diligence team or your contract review team to be able to work with them. But here's where it goes from epic to legendary. While we're identifying the categories of each contract, we're then looking immediately next to parse out the key sections of each contract, allowing them to become their own documents within Relativity. It's a parent-child relationship with Relativity, allowing you to then take those objects that are in Relativity and leverage Relativity analytics. You can use cluster visualization, structured analytics to better analyze across each section of all the contracts that you have. Now, let's jump into Relativity and see how my team is handling those executive employment agreements. All right, cool. So when you download our application into your workspace, we're going to have these pre-configured integration point profiles. We'll already map the fields, enable the scheduler. All you have to do is authenticate with the data source. My next step would be to then understand how am I going to be able to review and analyze those contracts. Over the past 6 months, we've been using 1.1 million contracts as our training round to be able to grow and understand the engine. And the awesomest part of what we're doing here is that working with the Relativity community gives us the biggest data set for this engine to continue to grow. But we want you to be able to configure it in your own ways as well. So all you would choose is a save search as your data source. And if you want it to be continuous, our agent will grab those contracts as they come in. So as I talked about a little bit earlier, let's go see how it's going for my team. Now, literally in a single view, I can see how Heretic is complementing Relativity Analytics. On the left-hand side, I got a section inventory of all the sections we've identified and parsed out as their own objects. And then I got the cluster viz. Then even below, I'm able to see the different versions of the sections and their similarity score. And even down here, I can even see how we've broken out each one of those sections. But I got a job to do. I don't have a lot of time to do it. So let's go see if I can better understand these compensation agreements. So I can go ahead and click here. Looks like it's what I'm looking for. And same with this cluster right here. And I go ahead and apply. Now, in this same view, I'm able to see the sections that I need to be able to review. Maybe I wouldn't have looked for breach right away, but now I can, thanks upon the conceptual similarity that I saw within the Relativity cluster viz. And as I scroll down, I'm starting to see a lot of different versions of these sections thanks to their near dupe scores. So I need somebody to look at this quickly. Now I'm able to easily just take this, assign it as a batch set this to my expert to review. But for my review team, they're going to be able to now focus on the section that we know is relevant to this situation to mitigate risk for my client, but they'll have the ability now to have the full context of the contract. So we built this related items pane. So now I can be able to look at each one of the sections on their own, be able to work with them, but if I need to, I can have the full view of the contract as well. Really giving them the ability to hone in on what the most important data is and act on it. Thank you guys so much. Please stop by the booth. We'd love to give you a little bit more about Heretic and learn more how you manage your contracts today.
How cool is that? doing more with the platform, and our ISVs are not the only ones innovating on top of our platform. Our service providers, our customers are also building awesome things. Last year, we had innovation awards, and we had 20-some submissions. They're all available on our blog if you want to check them out. Our winners were L Discovery and Reed Smith. I want to congrats those two groups, and the next batch of applications open up June 1st. If you're doing something really cool on the platform, let us know. Apply today. Lastly, let's move on to what I've been really itching to talk about, and that's the connected e-discovery experience in RelativityOne. Last year in London, we announced that we were working on RelativityOne, our version of Relativity, SaaS-based, built for the public utility cloud. And earlier this year, we launched RelativityOne in North America, and now we have 6 production customers. And I have a lot to share about the platform. But there's 4 things that really excite me about it. 4 things. One, it's just the natural benefits of SaaS in the public utility cloud. Well, SaaS, you don't have to worry about infrastructure. The system's just online, it's ready to go. You don't have to monitor anything. You don't have to scale up anything. It's always up to date. Upgrading is probably one of the biggest challenges for our customers, but in RelativityOne, there is a new version of the software that gets updated every single month. You don't have to think about updating software anymore. And then you can take advantage of all the cool stuff that we just showed you right now. It's elastic. So when your compute loads grow, well, like the infrastructure grows and can handle the work. It's secure. It's built on top of Azure, which is considered one of the most secure public clouds. They have the certifications, and they're really setting the standard for data security. And our shared service model allows you to have your own individual tenant in Relativity, but then there's the shared services that does the big, heavy compute, so you get the best of both worlds. And then finally, you have all the extensibility of the platform. So you can run into our cloud, you can get into the database, you can build your applications, you can download the Heretic into your instance, and take full advantage of the customization capabilities of Relativity. The second thing I'm really excited about what we're doing with RelativityOne is the architecture. It's how we're building it. And let me just take a few moments to show you how it works. So it starts with an Azure data center. And right now we're deployed in US Central. We've built a piece of software called the RelativityOne Management Service. When we need to spin up a new instance for our clients, we tell the management service to do so. It spins up a private network, it provisions all the resources. We now have a Relativity environment. Now, if we were just hosting Relativity in the cloud, I don't think it would be that interesting. What makes Relativity super interesting is the PaaS. The PaaS is a collection of shared services that all of the instances use in RelativityOne. And we're taking things like the data grid, the file service, the analytics service, and the HTML5 conversion service, and it lives in the Relativity PaaS. So if you have a lot of documents to convert, well, the PaaS crushes it and does that very quickly for you. And what that does, it makes the instance smaller, but the instance only contains your data. And so when we have new client environments to spin up, well, we just tell the management service to do it, and it goes and provisions those new environments. Now, one of the big reasons that people really like RelativityOne is the notion of being able to just upgrade is the monthly upgrade, but you can control the window. Hey, I can't have the upgrade happen this weekend. My clients are super busy. Okay, we can do it 3 days later. We schedule the system, off it goes. Now, when you need to expand to another geography, well, that's available in RelativityOne too. Whatever compatible Azure data center is, we tell the service, hey, we need an instance in UK London, off it goes. Now, when you manage 2 instances, well, maybe managing the groups between the 2, the users and groups, could be kind of complicated. Well, we have a piece of software that will synchronize the users and groups between the 2. So when you add a user in one, well, it automatically synchronizes to the other, making it easy for you. The final thing about RelativityOne is we watch the environment continuously, and it's all automated. And so as your instance is operating, it is spewing telemetry data over to the monitoring service, and then we know when we need to scale the environment. And then we just hey, there's a big processing job going on in here. Scale the environment up, and when it's done, we'll then scale it back down. What makes RelativityOne really special is the PaaS. Right now, we have just a handful of services in our PaaS, but over the next couple of years, more and more of the Relativity infrastructure will move into the super scalable PaaS. And the PaaS will allow us to innovate and resolve like issues in the software as they come about without any downtime for you. And this is what really is going to allow us to scale to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients with the Relativity Pass. And the Pass is not just for us. The Pass is also available to our development partners, so Malili and Blackout can actually put their software in the Pass too, and you'll be able to take advantage of that in RelativityOne. The architecture. Now, when we think about RelativityOne, it's just more than our SaaS version. We are going to continue to innovate the on-prem product for many, many years to come. We believe that having a hybrid approach is the best solution for our clients because you know what? Everyone has different needs of what they want with Relativity. So whether it's on-premise, in your on-premise rig, hosted through one of our partners or through the cloud, we want to provide a hybrid approach and be able to connect all the environments together. And so how we do that is we got to create this notion of having like a single identity. So in Relativity, you can configure Relativity to have one identity through a single sign-on. This single identity can then be configured across all of your instances. So when you log in, you're using the same username and password across all your instances, the same username and password. Then using this shared identity, we can then use the workspace portal to have this single pane of glass. So when you log in, you see all your workspaces across all the instances that you've connected to. You don't have to think about what server I need to log into, right? Once we've enabled this connectivity between the instances, not only can we provide this convenient function for the user, so they have one login, one single pane of glass, but now we can start transferring data between the instances. And when you talk about making that production over to the other party, well, we can all do it over the wire. This is what we're working towards, and we have this today. This is available. It's called instance-to-instance RIP. Go try it out. Why hybrid? Well, we think there's like tons of reason why we believe the hybrid approach is the approach that's going to work for this industry, and that's why we're continuing to innovate the on-prem product and the cloud simultaneously. The last thing about RelativityOne and our hybrid approach is our partnerships. The strategic partnership that we have with Microsoft and Azure is strong. And as Azure gets better, RelativityOne becomes better. The level of support that we have from Microsoft is tremendous, and they are working with us hand in and hand out to make sure this is a great experience for you. Along with that, we're working closely with the Office 365 team to seamlessly take data from Office 365 and put it into RelativityOne. The last thing about our partnerships, and more importantly, are the Relativity authorized partners who are in RelativityOne today. These are the 5 groups who have signed multi-year commitments with RelativityOne and are starting to use it as part of their service offering. And we're very thankful for working with these groups very early on, and they're truly helping us shape the product. Well, with all the things that we just covered about RelativityOne, you're probably thinking, well, that's great, but aren't you going to launch it for us next year? Well, we're actually accelerating the rollout of RelativityOne in Europe, and it will be available this summer. More to come. And there we go. Simplifying and accelerating how the world conducts e-discovery by consolidating the knowledge, leveraging processing as an advantage, new tools to analyze and visualize data, doing more with the platform and the connected e-discovery experience. Simplify and accelerate how the world conducts e-discovery, bringing the entire process community together in one platform. It's in all the stuff that you saw today is in RelativityOne and Relativity 9.5, either today or very shortly, maybe a month or two, right? One thing I just want to make a call out. So you might be thinking, yeah, I want that. Well, we've kind of changed the way we were releasing software. We release meaningful updates to the software on a month-to-month basis in RelativityOne and in the on-prem product. An on-prem product, you shouldn't have to wait for the next version because you know what? The next month is the next version, right? And we know upgrading is painful, and so we've partnered with George John. One of our systems integrators, to put a concierge program together to help you upgrade your Relativity instance. And working closely with George John and our customer success team will help you get there And we'll have a special promotion right now for the first 10 people who contact us at csm@kcare.com. We will basically help upgrade your instance for free or just do it for free. So just contact us, csm@kcare.com. Okay. That's what we have today. Later at 5 p.m., I'll talk about some of the stuff that we're doing tomorrow. So hope to see you all there. Thank you. Enjoy Fest London. We'll see you later today. Bye-bye.